Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Strike once, shame on you. Strike twice, also shame on you. Get back to work. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello, and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by producer Martin. What a show this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. We've got a clip of our super sports coverage. We've got an interview with Nadine Dorries on impartiality in broadcasting, and we've got Eshaan Akbar on the budget.
But as ever, there was so much in the Daily Show we couldn't include. We had a financial expert on to discuss the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, but it turns out interest in that item was lower than predicted, so we've thrown it away.
We also covered the Oscars direct from the red carpet, but unfortunately that was cut short after our reporter asked Hugh Grant a question. But rest assured, the doctors say they'll make a full recovery.
And a quick reminder, please send in some questions of your own for me, Martin and Eshaan to answer. The email address is noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. But let's start this week with the budget and financial expert Eshaan Akbar's views. Eshaan, hello.
Well, hello, Harriet. How are you?
Well, I'm very good, thank you. Wonderful to have you here. And wonderful to have you talking about the budget, something which I believe you've really been researching quite hard.
Yes, well, for the last 48 hours, I've been face in budget books, just swallowing in the numbers and everything.
That's why we employ you.
Well, look, thank you so much. I'm delighted that you've given me this opportunity. And what a budget it was. Wasn't it excellent?
Oh, it's very exciting. I love Budget Day. I absolutely love it. Every time gets me so excited. I wake up in a good mood. I think, Harriet, why are you in a good mood? And then I remember,
you know what?
I think budget.
This is, yes, it is because of the budget. And this time, the budget, we finally, for years and years, we've been saying, Norway, Finland, these Scandi countries, they're a good model for how to do things. And you know what? Finally, Jeremy Hunt has bit the bullet and made Britain join the pantheon of those wonderful Scandi countries. After this budget, we had the highest tax burden Britain has ever had, and it's going to be amazing. Because look, if you want nice things, you got to pay for it.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. And that is what I like about this budget. It's really pushing that in people's faces.
Absolutely. So let me tell you some of the key things that they've talked about. If you are an old person, what a time to be alive. If you were older, you'd be thinking, do you know what? I want to be older for as long as possible, because the amount that you can accumulate in your pension savings over your lifetime, which at the moment is at 1.7 million before you get taxed on it, that's been abolished. So you can save more than that. You can save 1 million.
Wow.
You can save 2 million. You can save 3 million. It doesn't matter. No tax. Isn't that great?
That is great. And let's reward the old people. Specifically, the old people who've worked for it.
I hate to, be the naysayer here. And I do personally get very excited about Budget Day myself. I enjoy the little red suitcase. It strikes me as the kind of thing that maybe Paddington Bear would carry with him, except for instead of marmalade sandwiches. It's full of just bad news for poor
The
people.
Paddington Bear that didn't come here illegally and worked for it.
Yes, no, that's that's one take on the story of the most beloved bear in our kingdom, I suppose. However, I've got to say that this good news for old people does strike me as rather bad news for poor people. It's good news for rich people, bad news for poor people. That seems to be the case.
Yes,
well, look, famously, poor people don't budget, and budgets are for people who manage their money properly. That's the whole point of a budget. That's what you do. If you've got money, you need to have a budget. And as we know, notoriously, poor people they
just buy Netflix.
Yeah, they just buy Netflix, and some of them buy avocados, and they can't buy houses
and lattes.
And lattes. So the budget is not really for them, because unless they learn how to budget, there's no point in them being interested in the budget. In any case, if you are a poor person, there are good things here for you too. Listen, some poor people have children. I think it's ill-advised, but if that's something they want to do, by all means. And you know what? Jeremy Hunt understands this. And he said, listen, I understand childcare is expensive. I'm going to make sure that you're able to get some free childcare for your child if they're between 9 months and 2 years. If they're under 9 months or over 2 years, you've got to look after them yourselves. So the best time of a child's life, which is 9 months to 2 years, keep them, and after 2 years, get rid.
Wow.
Where do they send them, Eshaan? Just anywhere?
Just anywhere. They can go somewhere.
Oh, you know what they can do? They could send their children to live with their rich old relatives.
Right. The rich old relatives, and then they can inherit the pension pot.
Exactly.
Tax-free.
See, often it's because people don't use their imagination. You're struggling with money. You have children. Now they're over 2. What do you do? Well, I think, if anything, things like Great Expectations have told us, find an old, rich person. Yes, their motives may be suspect, but send them out there, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's another thing. That child could grow up to maybe one day own their own business. And you know what? Even in this budget, even more good news, if you have a business, the main rate of corporation tax has increased from 19% to 25%.
Wow. Well, I think that's very good. Very good.
He understands that corporations make money.
I mean, is that good for small business owners?
Well, perhaps you should be more ambitious. Stop being a small business owner.
Yeah, be a big business owner.
Be a big business owner. What's wrong with you? It's just that's a lack of ambition, frankly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's the problem. That's why small businesses struggle.
They're too small. Right.
It's because they're not big. And I think if they actually decided to be big businesses instead, yes, it'd be very different.
It's a mindset thing. If you keep calling yourself small, you will be small. But if you keep calling yourself big, you will be big.
Of course, one very interesting note that I made on the budget was that there is some arts funding included, which is not to be expected usually from a Tory budget. I think there was about £8 million going to the Edinburgh Fringe alone, which was very interesting to see.
What?
Yeah, money for the arts.
Sorry, what? No.
What?
We're giving money to clowns. We are literally giving money to clowns. What is this? The clown budget? It's absolutely disgusting.
I mean, it is.
Oh my God.
I think it is largely being spent on a new premises, so maybe not that great for clowns, but still nice to know that we haven't been forgotten.
Oh, well, buildings are good. Yeah, buildings are good. I like that. Buildings are
Martin,
good.
you say we've been forgotten because you're a clown.
Wow.
So look, ultimately what this budget does is it just shows that, look, this is all about mindset. If you don't want to pay tax, be rich. If you are going to be poor, you will pay more tax.
Yeah.
And the kind of world that I want to live in is one that pushes us to strive to be rich.
It's kind of a carrot and a stick scenario.
Yes,
of
that
course,
is
the
the Holy
carrots
Grail.
are being given to the rich and the stick exclusively to poor.
I mean, Harriet, you did mention the Holy Grail. There is one wonderful thing. He's put £200 million towards fixing potholes as well.
Oh, wow. Well, isn't that brilliant? Well,
and that really is the Holy Grail.
I Well,
Oh, Eshaan. Well, I think that's a very good place to end with a little joke. Thank you very much for explaining the budget to us. You've been absolutely wonderful, as usual.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Lovely to be here.
Now, there's been a lot of talk this week about impartiality in broadcasting, including at a parliamentary select committee, where moaning John Nicholson suggested it was somehow a problem for politicians to be presenters.
yes, although, to be fair, you've been saying the same thing about politicians getting presenting jobs over radio hosts.
Shut up, Martin. Anyway, we were joined by Nadine Dorries to explain why it's absolutely not a problem, and let this be an end to it. Nadine, thank you for coming on the show and taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us.
Yes, well, thank you for having me, Harriet. I actually didn't think I'd be back. Not because of how you spoke to me, but because I am extremely busy, actually. I'm an MP and a TV presenter, which is fine.
Well, Nadine, I, to be honest, didn't want you back. But I thought, do you know what, Harriet? You are a journalist and an impartial commentator. And it's your job to have... Sorry, what was that?
No, it's just funny that you would say that you're impartial. I find that funny.
Okay, Nadine, well, I don't find that funny at all.
I
Anyway,
find it very
let's
funny.
move on. No, I don't find it funny.
I tell you what I'm quite partial to, and that is some impartiality. I love it, and I think a lot of our listeners do too, which is why
Be
we
quiet,
have Nadine on.
Martin.
Okay.
Right, now, what we wanted to talk about, Nadine, was the Ofcom chief has said that Tory MPs can present shows on GB News and interview who they like. And there's been a lot of controversy about this. And, well, I thought, who better to talk to than Nadine, who is a politician and also now a presenter.
And an almost lord, don't you forget it.
Not yet, Nadine, not yet.
Good things
But do you know
come
what?
first, you
I
won't.
respect people's pronouns, so I will call you Lord Nadine. So,
Thank
Nadine,
you.
you're welcome. Nadine, what is your view on this? Do you think are you being impartial by having your own TV show? By pushing your views onto the nation, as well as being a sitting MP?
Well, the good thing about my views, Harriet, is that they are incredibly sensible. And like all sensible views, they are slap bang in the middle, right in the centre, the most sensible place to be, even if you're driving. So, yes, actually, it is good that I present television programmes, something you may find out about one day if the standards drop.
Well, I'd like you to know, not that it's relevant, I've had lots of interest actually about me presenting TV. And just because I haven't got the elevated position of being an MP, which means that you can get just sort of shuffled into any job despite not knowing anything about it, some of us have worked for it. Anyway, that's beside the point, Nadine. So you say that you are a centrist and that your views should be broadcast because they are nice, central views. So what do you feel about views that fall on either side of the centre?
They're all bad, every single one of them. All of my views are very good, everyone else's views are very bad, and that's why it's good that I'm a TV presenter plus politician. I'm a political television woman.
Right, okay. Look, I mean, I think impartiality is very important. I'm very impartial.
Let's try it sometime.
And you know, no, I am. I mean, yes, you know, I also am very centre in my beliefs, and I speak for the silent majority. But we also have, on the left, I've got, you know, Producer Martin. And Producer Martin, you have your views, don't you?
Well, yes, and I like the chance to be able to offer up.
Oh,
my
Martin, no
views
one really
on-
wants to hear about it. But look, Nadine, my
okay.
point is, do you think if you're there presenting your show and you have if you had Jeremy Hunt on there, would that be right? Because you're going to have a biased view. You know him. You've worked with him.
Yes, because I mix with people who have very sensible opinions. He's a very, very sensible man, Jeremy Hunt. If he wasn't so sensible, how come he's had so many front bench jobs? Checkmate.
Okay, well, I don't think you should be asking me the questions here, because actually I'm the one asking the questions. I'm the interviewer here.
And I'm the one asking a question. I asked one.
No, but you shouldn't answer the questions, actually, Nadine, because
Could I
you're getting your roles
ask a question?
confused.
Is that? I don't know if I'm allowed
All
to
right,
ask.
Producer
questions.
Martin, you are the producer.
He's on the far
right,
left.
Okay,
That's
good.
bad.
Well, actually, Nadine, I do consider myself to be more of a centrist, which seems to be a common theme here today. My
people
question
can call themselves
for you
whatever they like
is,
these days, apparently.
well, yes, I suppose so. The question is, if you are able to take on this role as both a politician and a presenter, do you feel that the same should be allowed? And will you be just as happy to have it take place when perhaps there's a Labour government? And if there were members of government, no, right? So it's one.
No,
one
that shouldn't be
rule
allowed because all of Labour on the far left and they're on
another
drugs.
for them. Wow.
They are on drugs and on the far
Okay,
left.
we're doubling down
this
on
is
that
quite a
one.
problem.
That I mean, are we talking Calpol?
And here's something the Labour government can answer. Maybe you, as a far lefty, can answer this one, Producer Martin. The Nazis were socialists. But I put upwards inflection on the end
Wow.
so that it was a question.
Okay.
They
I
can't
don't
answer
think
that,
was
can
a
they?
question.
The Nazis were socialists.
It was very much.
It's been a real tar on Hitler's name. Not that I'm a fan of Hitler.
No, he
but
didn't
calling
have a
him,
spotless
you know,
record,
calling
but
him
that's because he
right-wing.
wasn't slap bang in the middle with all
Yes.
the sensible opinions. Some of his opinions were very good.
It's like they call everyone a Nazi now, even Hitler, and he wasn't. He was a socialist. You know.
Yes, and the true Nazis are socialists. So
Mm-hmm.
something we agree on, Harriet.
Well,
Well, you know, I'm not afraid to agree with opinions, Nadine, just because of who I'm talking to them.
Oh, well, you say that, and yet here you are disagreeing with me for no reason whatsoever apart from jealousy.
Well, no, because I have to do my job. I have to do my job. Now,
Dear Ken.
Nadine, Ofcom said when they talked about Jeremy Hunt being interviewed by Esther McVeigh and Philip Davies, they said it depended on whether the programme in question was defined as a news show or a discussion offering. Now, Nadine, how would you describe your show? Because a lot of people wouldn't really describe it even as a proper show.
Well, a lot of people are very jealous of someone with my statute and also experience in the field getting a job on Britain's favourite television station. I would describe my show by the title I wanted to give it that I wasn't allowed to. I would describe it as Nadine's very sensible show where she looks fantastic.
well, I mean, that is quite hard to
Right.
argue with.
It's
Thank
interesting.
you.
Sure.
You're sort of evoking the idea that it's about jealousy because do you know who else did that, Nadine? Hitler.
Oh, wow. I mean, I'd
Hitler
love
wasn't
to jump
jealous
in the
of
middle
anyone,
here,
actually.
but
Hitler was very secure.
I do feel like we're defending Hitler perhaps more than I wanted to. in
I
this
wasn't
particular
saying he looked fantastic. I was
episode.
saying I look fantastic.
I'm just going to have to look through my pages to see what the Ofcom policy is with, saying.
Oh, it's fine with Ofcom,
Nice
the
things
producer
about-
Martin. You have a little debate with them, with a little discussion, and then you say, it's fine. This is a discussion like it was a discussion when we were talking. You just class it all as discussions. It's fine.
They probably don't like it. If you ask Ofcom, they probably don't like it. And you know why? It's because they're a bunch of Nazis.
They are a bunch of Nazis.
Silent
I mean,
majority have been saying
they
it
are.
in their heads.
Not sure that particular quote is going to play
Well, the
well
thing
in our
is-
defence.
Producer Martin, what you have to understand is Ofcom are very wokey. And as we've already established, so was Hitler.
Socialists and
socialists.
Nazis.
He was far woke. Far
Right,
woke.
Yeah,
okay.
that's worse
Good to
than
have some
Farlow.
clarity on this.
He was a nationalist wokerist.
And that's German.
That's German. Thank you, Nadine. I'm glad you agree with me on this.
Well, I agree with that.
Right, so Nadine, before we go, is there anything else you'd like to say in defence of poly presenters or whatever you call yourselves?
Yes, watch them. Watch me. Friday nights on Talk TV, the best TV station around. And anyone who doesn't watch is just jealous and they're a Nazi and they're Hitler.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Sometimes a pleasure.
No.
Now, you may have seen a rival broadcaster's sports coverage last week, and I think you could tell that it was quite shoddily thrown together. As regular listeners to our station will know, we actually host a sports show every Saturday afternoon where we talk through all the action from all the channels that we do not have legal permission to broadcast directly. Here's a clip from last week where my guest analysts were producer Martin, commentator Mike Staple, and former sports secretary Nadine Dorries. To be honest, we didn't actually book her for that, but she was passing by the studio and sort of insisted. Oh, right, lots of very exciting things going on. Now, Mick, let's start with you. What are you looking at?
Well, Harriet, I am here watching the football. The football.
Yes.
It's quite a game.
Is
quite
it?
a game of football.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of feet, and there's only one ball. But you know, there's a lot going on. They're passing it back and forth, and they're there's this team, black and white stripes. We'll call them the Zebras, and then the other team, they're putting up a very good fight. A very good fight. It's they're
really fighting for that ball, are they, Mick?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of catching. There's a net either side of the grass, and they're catching balls left, right, and centre. It's all going on. And then there's something to do with flags in the corner. I'm not quite sure what's happening.
What's going on with the flags? What do you mean? What kind of flags are we talking about?
I think it's a separate game, because there are guys on the sides running up and down, touching the flags, and I don't know, they're doing their own thing, but I'll get round to that. But it looks like a lot of fun, I've got to say.
I mean, the flags sound great, but I'm worried about these balls being sort of caught in nets. I mean, what's that about? It's just typical of the woke left, isn't it? Always trying to catch and restrict balls wherever they fly. I mean, what are they trying to do? Like, castrate the right, basically, aren't they?
Absolutely. I tell you, it's typical of this lot. Honestly, they're just going around castrating people left, right, and centre.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Mick. Now we move on to Nadine. Hello, Nadine. Great to have you on, as always.
Yes, well, it's good because I'm used to have a lot of experience as digital sports, so this is good and you're welcome. I'm actually watching some cricket, good British sports. So everyone's happy to see that. And we've got the first cricket man he's bowling the ball, but he's doing it with his bat, and he's bowled it straight, and it's come straight back at him. It's come straight back over the cricket net, and now he's hitting it back at him. He's doing loads and loads of runs, but they're all side to side. What an idiot! And then it's gone out. It's gone out of side of the cricket court, and it's been picked up by the youngest player I've ever seen. He's a tiny little boy, and the umpire's a lazy woke. He's just sitting in a chair.
Well, Nadine, this is the thing. I don't know a lot about cricket, so
well, good job on
I'm going to trust your word on that. I worry about the little boy there. I mean, what's going on there? Why have they got children there? It's just typical, isn't it?
This is the left. They put children in harm's way, and I'm here to stop it by saying, don't do that.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Thank you very much. Now we move on to producer Martin. Producer Martin, what are you watching?
Yes, well, I'm actually having a wonderful time here. I'm witnessing something quite beautiful that I only ever actually get to see every 4 years. It involves rocks being slowly thrown on a beautiful, clean rink of ice. It's the curling. It's the curling I'm watching.
God.
And to be honest, I didn't think it was on, but you can find it. It's a subscription channel. I've had to pay a lot of money to be able to access this. I'm not going to lie, it was more than I was willing to be. It's more than my Netflix and Amazon subscription put together, but they're doing such a wonderful job. I think this might be a rerun, actually, of based on what people are wearing, it might be from the 90s, but I'm having
so
a
Martin,
wonderful time.
They're just skimming rocks. Is that what's happening?
They're cleaning. It's mainly cleaning the ice. There's actually very little of the skimming of the rocks. There's just a lot of brushing. It's quite beautiful. It's quite. I could almost lose myself in the And sometimes.
Right, so trust you to choose the most wokey of all sports. It's practically not a sport, it's just cleaning. You're just watching people clean. That's what you're just doing.
It gets quite thrilling at points, actually. I mean, will the ice be clean enough? You just don't know. Can it ever be clean enough? To be honest, I didn't think that ice was dirty to start with.
Producer Martin, we'll get back to you. Mick, how's it going over there? Has there been much change?
Yes, lots of change. And mainly these little adverts on the side, they keep changing quite a lot.
Oh, goodness.
Lots to look at. It's a visual feast, absolutely.
But Mick, you know why that is, don't you? The reason why they keep changing adverts like that is because now all the wokies are saying that everyone's got ADHD. So as a result, they don't stick with anything, so no one can read anything properly. And that's what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like sport for the TikTok generation. It's just constant swiping. I can't keep track of the ball. I just don't even know where it is right now. I can't physically see it.
Well, Mick, they're probably swiping the ball instead of hitting it because they've mistaken it for a phone screen.
Well, exactly. I tell you, this is why I stopped coming to football. Because I didn't really understand it. I mainly came for the cheeseburgers at half time, but it doesn't matter. But I stopped coming because, quite frankly, it's just got ridiculous now. It's just a load of effeminate men, chasing after each other in very tight shorts. And if I want to see that, I'll stay at home and watch it on TV. Thank you very much.
Yes. And you say you don't understand it, but whose fault is that? Not yours, Mick. Not yours.
No, mine at all. Not mine at all. I used to blame my wife because she used to go on about it when I was watching on TV, but then she left and I still didn't understand it. So, there's a problem here somewhere, and I'll tell you for one, it's not with me.
Yes, I think that is very clear. Well, thank you very much. Nadine, how is the cricket going?
Well, it's the same cricket man still hitting the ball over to the other side, and he's actually a British man. I didn't realise that because his name's Cam Norrie. It doesn't sound very British to me. But someone in the crowd just shouted out, "Come on, Tim!" and everybody laughed. And that is because everyone is supporting Tim Davie. Everyone is happy with Tim Davie, an impartial man who runs the British Bias Corporation. But it's not biased, it's actually impartial. So why don't you shut up?
That is brilliant. But that's the thing, isn't it? People think that people who love sport, as everyone on this panel clearly does, are not politically aware, but they are. And the fact that you've got the whole crowd there, Nadine, cheering on Tim Davie, though, I mean, he
loves cricket.
Let's face it, he has but Tim Davie has, I mean, I don't want to say the elephant in the room, but he has kind of been overtaken by the woke mob, hasn't he? He's kowtowed to the large amount of wokies.
They are very powerful and they need watching.
They do. Well, it's good that you're watching because it infiltrates everywhere, and it's clearly they're infiltrating the cricket, with the children. And I think it's glad that at least the audience know what's going on. I think that's wonderful.
They're taking a stand.
They're taking a stand. Producer Martin, I don't really want to go to you because it's boring, but what's going on there?
The beautiful concentric circles that now house the Ayrshire granite rock.
Right.
They keep the points, and we're attracted to them because, of course, the eye is drawn to where the points are coming from. But those rocks from a deep history. I mean, it's not just Ayrshire. Of course, some of the rocks do come from the Welsh mining village.
Is there any action going on here, Producer Martin? Anything actually happening?
It's hundreds of years of action, really. A deep history. And I, for one, am glad to just brush into it, just like the brushes are doing into the ice.
Okay. Yeah. Let's
very
remind
beautiful.
our listeners that history is woke in its entity. So what you're doing there is, someone really needs to, I don't know, keep an eye on it.
I thought something you might like, Harriet, is the scoring circles do look a bit like the sign for the RAF. So there's planes.
Oh, I do quite like that.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
But that is quite nice.
Yes. I really think you'd quite enjoy. Maybe I should. I mean, I've paid a lot of money, as I say, for the subscription, so you can just borrow it if you like.
Yes, thank you. I don't want to buy it, but if you give me your passwords. I mean, I've got a book of the passwords you've given me for everything. If you could just, send it over and I can pop it in there.
I don't think you should write down the passwords. That sounds like a...
Oh, Martin, it's absolutely fine. I carry them around with me. Now, Mick, you must be coming we're getting on the match there. You must be coming near the end of it. How are the teams faring?
Harriet, I am incensed. You will not believe what's happening. I have just heard someone sat next to me that's saying they're going to pull a man off very soon. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. What's going to happen?
What?
He's going to be pulling a man off. What is going to happen? There's going to be drag queens at full time. I'm not going to stick around for it.
That is absolutely disgusting.
Tell
That is
me
absolutely
about it.
disgusting. Why is there no protest there? Why is no one protesting about them pulling a man off?
Well, I tell you what, there are signs dotted around this stadium, okay, but they make no sense to me, okay?
No.
It says, go on Newcastle. I don't know what a Newcastle is, but I don't approve of it. It's probably some sort of demented sex position.
That is disgusting. This is just Brave New World, isn't it? Well, you know what? This Brave New World is absolutely disgusting. And the population are going to the pigs. And it's starting with football.
It's absolutely... Oh, now, look, they're taking the shirts off and handing them to each other. This is disgusting. Look at this guy here. Number... I can't even see the number. He's taking his shirt off now. But all I can see are his nipples. His big man nipples. And I tell you, there's a bead of sweat running right down his chest, going right down those chiseled abs. And I'm not going to... I tell you, in some places, this would be appreciated if it was a statue in a museum looking at that svelte figure wandering around there on the pitch with all to see, all hanging out there just nicely above his shorts. But in this setting, it's frankly disgusting. I am not, for one, going to sit here and look at that tattoo at the small of his back. It's a little bit cheeky. It's a little bit risque. But I don't think this is a time or the place to be seeing something like that. I tell you, I can feel that cheeseburger coming back up.
Yeah. Oh, Mick. Well, I can really hear about how horrified and disgusted you are.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, never seen anything like it.
Anyway, moving to Nadine. We're running out of time, but how's it all looking over there?
Well, the cricket match has finished. Everyone has gathered on the cricket courts to say well done to Cam Norrie, who actually this is weird, right? He won the last game, 40 love. That's a bit informal. What happened to hate?
That is absolutely extraordinary. That's the thing, isn't it? They're dictating our language now. Oh, now we have to love. We have to do sort of wokey, lovey, lovey, love with our cricket. As you say, why are not all emotions being regarded? Where's our free speech to be freely hateful?
It's been destroyed, which is why I barely say anything anymore.
No, I've really noticed this about you, Nadine. And do you think the right people have won?
I've literally no idea, but come on, Tim.
Well, thank you to our panel. I will briefly, with a heavy heart, go to producer Martin just before we wrap up.
You couldn't have joined me at a better time. My eyes are glued to the eye of the hog, as it's called, the handle of the stone, as it just slips beautifully towards the centre. I'm reminded of the Beatles in their 1965 film Help. Of course, the villains booby-trapped one of the curling stones there with the bomb. Or indeed of the 1969 James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which features scenes of curling. And, of course, perhaps more obviously of Men with Brooms, the 2002 Canadian film that takes a satirical look at curling. Or indeed the TV adaptation, also titled Men with Brooms, debuted in 2010.
All right, yes. Yes, all right. Thank you, producer Martin.
Just so nice.
I'm sure someone somewhere will appreciate that contribution. Well, that's all for Sports Saturday. Been another wonderful edition. Thank you so much to my guests. Join us next week. We have both of Right Said Fred on and Douglas Murray giving, as usual, wonderful sports coverage. Well, that's it from this week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep those questions coming to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. What a show, eh, Martin?
Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to give us 5 stars. Give us a click on the like button. Tell your friends, and why not? While you're at it, just look up whether you have a local curling club. You could join up, follow the highs and lows of that, or just lose yourself staring at that beautiful Ayrshire rock. The as it
Okay,
glides
thank you, Martin.
peacefully.
And thank you to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Suze Kempner, and Rob Gilroy. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.